Dr. Elias Ward stepped off the small shuttle and onto the soft silver platform of the Ashari research station. The air around him shimmered faintly, carrying a light floral scent that reminded him of spring on Earth. He paused for a moment, taking in the alien world. The sky was a pale blue, almost white at the edges, and high above, two thin moons drifted slowly. Everything looked peaceful, but Elias knew he was standing in the center of one of the most important scientific exchanges in the galaxy. He had been chosen to join the diplomatic science program not because he was the smartest human, but because he was calm, patient, and willing to learn. Humanity was still new to the galactic community, and trust had to be earned. The Ashari were older, wiser, and far more advanced. They lived long lives and carried themselves with a quiet dignity that humans rarely managed. Elias felt a flicker of nervousness as he adjusted the strap of his research kit. This was not a normal mission. The Ashari had invited him personally, and it was not common for them to show that kind of interest in any species, let alone humanity. To them, humans were still unpredictable newcomers. He turned when he heard soft footsteps approaching. A tall, slender figure with pale lavender skin and bright green eyes stood waiting. Her long hair, more like thin strands of glowing silk, flowed behind her even when there was no breeze. This was Serenla, the lead geneticist of the Ashari Science Council. "You are Dr. Elias Ward," she said, her voice calm and warm. "Welcome to Asharen. I am honored to finally meet you." Elias gave an awkward smile. "I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me." Serenla studied him with curiosity. Unlike many Ashari, she did not try to hide her expressions. She seemed genuinely interested in him, and that alone surprised him. The Ashari usually treated humans with polite distance. "We have been waiting for someone like you," she said, as they walked along a glowing path that lit up beneath their steps. "Your people show unusual biological strength, adaptability, resilience. It is rare." Elias had read the reports. The Ashari were facing a silent crisis. Their reproduction rates had been falling for centuries. The new generations were growing smaller and weaker. No solution had worked. They feared that within a few hundred years, their civilization might simply fade away. "So that's why I'm here," Elias said softly. "To help." Serenla nodded. "To try. Our research has reached a point where new ideas are needed. Your species may offer something we have never seen before." Rever. Elias felt a weight settle on his shoulders. He had expected to assist, not to be seen as a possible key to their survival. He wanted to say he wasn't sure he was good enough for something so important, but Serenla continued speaking before he could open his mouth. "You do not need to be afraid," she said gently, sensing his unease. "We will guide you. You are not expected to solve everything on your own." Her assurance helped, but only a little. Elias knew that even if no one expected him to succeed, everyone hoped he would. The research facility was unlike anything on Earth. It was shaped like a giant crystal flower, its walls glowing from within. The halls were open and bright, and every door slid away before they even reached it, responding to Serenla's presence. The Ashari moved gracefully, almost silently, as if they floated instead of walked. Serenla led him into a large laboratory filled with holographic displays showing swirling patterns of DNA. The room hummed with a soft musical vibration, something the Ashari claimed helped keep minds calm. "This is where we will work," she said. "Today we begin with a basic compatibility study. Nothing complex. Simply observation." Elias nodded, though he could already feel his heart speeding up. Basic or not, this was the first human Ashari reproductive test ever conducted with full permission. Hundreds of worlds had struggled with cross-species experiments, but the Ashari had never agreed to any until now. Serenla handed him a pair of thin gloves that wrapped around his fingers like liquid. I will take the sample from your side, she said. It is quick and painless. You do not need to worry. Elias tried to smile. I'm a doctor. I can handle it. Her eyes brightened with amusement. Even doctors feel fear sometimes. He laughed quietly, surprising himself. There was something comforting about her presence, something steady. She moved with confidence, but she was not arrogant. She simply believed in her work. The sample collection took only a few minutes. Afterward, Serenla placed the human cell sample into a small crystalline container. Inside, a soft blue light shimmered like a living cloud. We will combine it with an Ashari gamete, she explained. Not to produce life, but to test whether stability is possible. Our cells are delicate. They rarely respond well to foreign material. Elias watched closely as she added the Ashari sample. The container glowed brighter. A holographic projection appeared above it, showing the microscopic meeting of two completely different forms of life. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the blue light shifted. Something inside the container pulsed. Not violently, just a small, gentle flash. Serenla leaned closer, her eyes widening. She adjusted the projection, zooming in. The cells had fused. Not only that, they were stabilizing. That's impossible, Serenla whispered. Her calm voice trembled for the first time since he met her. This should not be happening. Elias stepped forward. What does it mean? She didn't answer immediately. Her hands moved quickly over the display, running calculations and scans. Each result made her expression grow more astonished. It means, she said slowly, that your biology is far more compatible than we believed. More than any species we have tested. It is reacting as if it recognizes us. Elias felt his throat tighten. Is that good? Serenla turned to him with wonder in her eyes. It is beyond good, she said. It is a miracle. On the first attempt, your cells created the most stable hybrid reaction we have ever seen. This has never happened with any other species. He stared at the glowing container, feeling a strange mix of pride and fear. He had only been on this planet for an hour, and already something impossible had happened. Serenla stepped closer to him. Dr. Elias Ward, she said softly, you may have just changed the future of my entire people. Elias swallowed hard as the realization washed over him. He had wanted to help, but he had never imagined this. The Ashari had been searching for hope for generations, and now, without even trying, a human had given them their first real chance. Serenla stood completely still, staring at the glowing container, as if the universe had shifted beneath her feet. For a long moment, the gentle hum of the laboratory was the only sound in the room. Elias watched her closely, unsure whether she was about to celebrate, panic, or faint. He had never seen an Ashari lose their composure, and the way her hands trembled told him this discovery was far bigger than he had imagined. She finally drew in a slow breath. We must repeat the test, she said quietly, though her voice carried urgency. One result is not enough. We need to confirm it. Elias nodded. All right, whatever you need. Serenla moved quickly now, her calm replaced with sharp focus. She prepared a new set of samples, her fingers gliding over the control panels with practiced skill. The first test had been simple and almost casual, but now she worked with intense precision. The room brightened as she activated more holographic tools. Ashari symbols floated around her like glowing petals, showing data Elias could hardly read. She placed the second sample into the crystal container. The soft blue light returned, swirling gently. Elias held his breath without meaning to, waiting. Again, nothing happened at first. Then the same pulse of light appeared, gentle but clear. Serenla exhaled shakily. It happened again! Exactly the same. Elias stepped closer. 2 times. That's good. Right? Yes, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. But it is more than good. It is something we have never seen in our science. Not even in theoretical models. She turned toward the wall where a large holographic screen formed, showing 2 side-by-side charts of the reactions. The lines on both were identical, steady, and stable. Elias didn't understand the meaning of every symbol, but even he could see the pattern. It was too perfect to be an accident. Serenla's hands shook again. She pressed one palm against her forehead and stepped back, trying to gather herself. Your species carries a trait we never predicted. Something unique. Something designed? No. Evolved to adapt to anything. Elias felt a cold prick of fear at the back of his neck. Are you saying humans are dangerous? She shook her head quickly. No, not dangerous. Extraordinary. That didn't calm him. Extraordinary could mean many things, including unwanted attention from the Ashari Council, or worse, fear from the galaxy. Serenla walked to another console and brought up a new set of scans. She pointed to a glowing cluster inside the holographic cell image. Here, she said, this small cluster. It does not belong to human DNA. But it also does. It is a symbiotic organism living inside your cells. It assists stability, protects the structure, and increases compatibility. It is ancient. Very ancient. Elias blinked. A microorganism? Inside every human? Yes. One that your species never identified. Or perhaps you did, but did not understand its purpose. She studied the chart with awe. This organism acts like a guardian. It adapts instantly to foreign cells. It tries to connect, rather than reject. He tried to wrap his mind around it. So, humans evolved something inside them that can connect with alien life? When Sihi won. Ravern the wrong. Ravern the wrong. Exactly, she said. Without it, this reaction would fail. With it, your sample is accepted, embraced, protected. Elias let out a slow breath. That's incredible. Serenla turned to him, her green eyes glowing brighter now. Dr. Ward, I do not think you understand. This discovery could save my people. If this reaction continues at this stability, it is the first real chance we have found in centuries. Before Elias could respond, the door slid open. 3 Ashari elders entered the room. Their long robes were decorated with silver threads that shimmered in the lab light. They moved with the slow grace of individuals who carried great authority. Elias straightened instinctively. Serenla bowed her head respectfully. Honored elders, I was not expecting a visit so soon. We received your alert, the first elder said, his voice soft but firm. You indicated that an unusual reaction has occurred. Wei. Elias felt tension coil in his stomach. Serenla hadn't told him she had sent an alert. She stepped aside so they could see the holographic charts. The human sample created a stable fusion with Ashari genetic material. Twice. The reaction is consistent. The eldest among them leaned closer. His expression was calm, but his eyes widened slightly. This is no ordinary stability. No, Serenla agreed. It is the most stable hybrid reaction in our recorded science. One of the elders turned to Elias, studying him as if seeing him for the first time. Human, she said gently. Did you know your species carried this trait? Elias shook his head. No, we've never seen anything like this. I'm as surprised as you are. The elders whispered among themselves in their musical language. Elias couldn't understand the words, but the tone was clear concern mixed with hope. Finally, the first elder spoke again. This discovery must be verified by the council. Serenla, you are to prepare a full report. Immediately. Yes, elder. The second elder stepped forward. And the human. He must remain under protection until the council reaches a decision. Elias stiffened. Protection? From what? Not from danger, the elder said. From misunderstanding. If this information spreads too quickly, there will be fear. Some will see you as a savior, others as a threat. Both can be dangerous. Elias nodded slowly. He understood. Humanity was new to the galaxy. A discovery like this could twist perceptions in unpredictable ways. The elders left the room silently, leaving Serenla alone with him again. She watched the door close, her shoulders lowering with relief. Do not be alarmed, she said softly. They will not harm you. They want to understand. I know, Elias said, but it still feels strange. She gave him a small smile. Welcome to Ashari politics. He managed to laugh a little. Not too different from Earth. Serenla walked back to the container and checked the readings again. The cells were still stable, still glowing with the same soft blue light. She stared at it with a mixture of wonder and fear. This reaction could change everything, she whispered. But the council will be cautious. They always are. Elias stepped beside her. What do you think will happen? God. God will land. God. I think, she said slowly, that you will become very important to my people. And I think you will not like that very much. He gave a weak smile. Probably not. Serenla looked at him, her expression gentle. But you are not alone. I will guide you through whatever comes next. Elias felt a small sense of comfort at her words. He looked again at the glowing cell fusion, the tiny miracle that had started all of this. A simple test, a routine procedure. And now the entire future of an alien civilization might depend on a human man who had only just arrived. Whatever came next, Elias realized, would not be simple. And it would not be safe. Elias sat quietly in the small observation room Serenla had guided him to. The walls glowed with a soft amber light meant to calm the mind, but he still felt restless. Everything had happened so fast. One moment, he was a visitor. A simple scientist, hoping to help, and the next moment he was the center of the most shocking biological discovery in Ashari history. He rubbed his hands together, trying to steady his thoughts. He didn't know what the Ashari Council would decide, or what would happen to him. The elders had said they would protect him, but that word could mean many things. Back on Earth, he hated attention. Here, attention might come with pressure, expectations, or danger. The door slid open. Serenla entered with her usual calm presence, though her eyes carried a shadow of worry. She held a small datapad close to her chest, as if it contained secrets too important to expose to the air. How are you feeling? She asked gently. Confused, Elias admitted, and a little scared. That is normal, she said as she sat beside him. Your world changed today. So did mine. He nodded slowly. Did the council decide anything yet? Not fully, she said. They want more data before they choose how to act, but they asked me to continue studying your samples in deeper detail. They want to know everything about the compatibility reaction. Elias sighed. So they want to know why this is happening. Serenla hesitated for a moment. Yes. And they want to know how much of it depends on you. That part made Elias sit straighter. Me, specifically? Your sample is the only human sample available here, she reminded him. So for now, you are the focus. He swallowed. Okay. What happens now? She glanced at the datapad in her hands. I have spent the last hours analyzing the symbiotic organism inside your cells. I isolated it and ran dozens of scans. What I found is amazing. Elias leaned forward. Tell me. Serenla tapped the pad, projecting a floating image above them. It showed a tiny, star-shaped microorganism, glowing with faint silver light. This organism lives inside every part of your biology, she explained. It coats your cells like a shield. We believe it evolved millions of years ago on your planet, perhaps during an ancient disease outbreak, something that forced your ancestors to adapt in extreme ways. Earth does have a long history of harsh environments, Elias said. And viruses. Yes, she agreed. But this organism is not a virus. It is a helper. It repairs damage, stabilizes cell walls, and adjusts to foreign biological signals. It acts almost like a translator. Elias blinked. A translator? Between species? In a way, yes. When Ashari material touched your sample, this organism adapted instantly. It changed your cell structure slightly, just enough to make the fusion safe. It sent a signal that said, "Do not reject, accept," and our material listened. Elias stared at the glowing image, trying to absorb her words. So, humans can connect with alien life? Because of this thing? Sarenla nodded. Exactly. You are the most adaptable species we have ever studied. This trait makes humans unique in the galaxy. He leaned back, stunned. We never knew. On Earth, we just survive. We struggle, we fight, we grow. But we never thought we were special. Sarenla smiled softly. Sometimes, strength hides quietly. Your people carry something powerful without even understanding it. He breathed slowly, trying to calm his racing thoughts. If this gets out, he whispered, other species might want to use humans. Or fear them. Yes, she said softly, and that is why the council is being careful. There was a knock at the door. A young Ashari assistant entered, bowing quickly. Lead geneticist, Sarenla. The next round of results is ready for you. Thank you, Sarenla said. I will review them now. The assistant left, and Sarenla turned back to Elias. Would you like to see the results with me? It may help you understand what is happening. Ah. Elias nodded. I'd rather be involved than left guessing. She smiled at his bravery. Then come. They walked together back into the laboratory. The main chamber was brighter now, filled with projections of swirling DNA patterns and chemical signatures. Several scientists were present, watching their screens with intensity. When Elias entered, they looked at him with quiet interest, not hostility, but curiosity mixed with awe. Sarenla guided him to a central console, where a large hologram showed a cluster of fused cells. They were glowing steadily, pulsing in a rhythm that resembled a heartbeat. These are the cells from the second test, she explained. They have continued to divide. Elias stared in shock. They're growing. Yes, she said. That should not be possible. A hybrid should break down after a few hours. But these have continued to develop, and they remain stable. He watched the hologram, unable to look away. Each pulse of light felt like a promise, like something alive reaching for the future. What does this mean for your people? Elias asked quietly. Sarenla folded her hands in front of her. It means hope. A chance to study life that should not exist. A chance to understand why our own reproduction has failed. And perhaps, one day, a chance to save our species. Elias felt her emotion through her calm tone. The Ashari were not a dramatic people, but the tremble in her voice revealed how deeply this discovery affected her. Suddenly, a sharp alarm beeped from one of the side consoles. An Ashari researcher hurried over, checking the readings. His eyes widened. Sarenla, he called. You must see this. She approached quickly. Elias followed. What is it? She asked. The researcher pointed to the screen. The sample has produced a new signal, a pattern we have never observed. It is sending out a stable resonance. Sarenla's breath caught. A resonance? You mean? Yes, the researcher said. It is communicating. Elias blinked. Communicating? With what? The researcher turned to him, his expression uncertain. With itself, and possibly with the environment around it. Serenla studied the pattern. This is a biological language. A very early form of signaling. It means the hybrid cells are not just alive. They are organizing. End of 4. Elias felt a cold shiver run down his back. That sounds important. It is, Serenla whispered. It means this is not simply a fusion. It is the beginning of something new. Something we cannot predict. The room fell silent. Everyone stared at the glowing pattern, each pulse sending ripples across the hologram like the first words of an unknown language. Serenla placed a gentle hand on Elias's arm. Whatever this becomes, it started with you. With humanity. Elias swallowed hard. He had come to help. But now he stood at the center of a discovery that could reshape civilizations. The hybrid was communicating, and the galaxy would soon want to know what it was trying to say. Elias stood beside Serenla as the holographic patterns continued to ripple across the air. The soft pulses of light moved like waves, creating a gentle rhythm that filled the room. Every Ashari scientist present stared at the projection without blinking. Some whispered to each other in quiet awe, while others simply watched in silence, overwhelmed by what they were witnessing. It was the kind of moment that changed a world. But Elias could already sense the danger that would follow. Discoveries like this never came without a price. Serenla stepped closer to the console and adjusted the projection. The glowing signals formed a steady beat, clear and organized. This is too advanced for early hybrid cells, she said softly. It is forming structure far faster than anything we predicted. Elias watched the light pattern carefully. Is it safe? Yes, she answered. But it is also incredible. It is not growing uncontrolled. It is growing with purpose. He didn't know how to respond to that. Living things always had a purpose, survival, growth. But this felt different. It felt directed, intelligent, even if only in the smallest way. Before anyone could speak again, the room suddenly darkened. A soft chime echoed through the walls, followed by a message in the Ashari language. The scientists all turned towards Serenla, their faces tense. She stiffened. The council has summoned us, she said. Immediately. Elias felt a knot form in his stomach. Is that bad? It means they want answers now, she replied. 2 Ashari guards entered the room moments later. They were calm and respectful, but their presence added weight to the air. Elias followed Serenla as they walked through the glowing halls, each step echoing like a countdown. The council chamber was vast, shaped like a circular garden filled with shimmering trees and soft blue moss. Columns of crystal rose from the ground, glowing with gentle light. At the center, 7 Ashari elders sat in elevated seats, watching Serenla and Elias approach. Elias tried to steady his breathing. He felt painfully small beneath their calm, powerful gazes. Serenla bowed deeply. Honored council, we bring the results of today's tests. The eldest elder nodded. Proceed. Serenla explained everything. The stable fusion, the division of cells, the ancient human symbiotic organism, and finally, the resonance. The communication that had stunned the lab. She spoke carefully, calmly, but Elias could hear the tremble hidden beneath her voice. This was her life's work on display. This was her people's future, hanging in the balance. When she finished, the chamber fell silent. The second elder leaned forward. Serenla, do you believe this hybrid reaction can lead to a solution for our reproductive decline? Telvri, to mine. Telvri, to mine. To mine. To mine. To mine. To minus. To mine. To mine. Yes. Sarenla said firmly. It is the strongest hope we have found. And this hope, another elder added, comes from a species we barely understand. Elias felt their eyes turn toward him. He stood straighter, though fear pressed against his ribs. One elder spoke gently. Human, do you understand the gravity of what your biology has done? Yes, Elias said quietly. I do. I never meant to create fear. I came here to help. The council murmured softly among themselves. Some nodded. Others frowned. Finally, the eldest elder lifted his hand. The chamber returned to silence. There are two paths before us, he began. One is hope, a chance to save our people from fading into history. The other is caution. A discovery of this magnitude may draw attention from others in the galaxy. Attention we are not prepared for. Sarenla stepped forward. Honored elders, we must study this further. Carefully, yes, but not fearfully. Humanity has shown no sign of aggression toward us. This is not a threat. It is a miracle. A younger elder frowned. Or it is something we do not yet understand. Something that can grow beyond our control. Elias felt a chill run down his spine. He knew this fear well. Humans had faced it with their own discoveries, new technology, artificial intelligence, powerful medicines. Every breakthrough came with the same question. What if this changes everything? Finally, the eldest elder turned to Elias. Human, we must ask you directly. Will you consent to continued study of your biology? Only with your agreement can we move forward. Elias didn't answer immediately. He looked at Sarenla. She met his gaze with calm strength, silently saying that she trusted him. Trusted his heart, not just his science. He turned back to the council. Yes, I consent. If there's a chance to help your people, then I want to be part of it. But I also ask something from you. The elders leaned forward. Please, Elias said softly, don't let fear guide your decisions. Humanity has flaws, but we don't want to harm anyone. I don't want this discovery to cause fear or conflict. The eldest elder studied him for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. Your words carry honesty. We will take them into consideration. I word, word Jana. Sarenla exhaled quietly, relief mixed with caution. But the council was not finished. The second elder stood. However, while we proceed, you must remain within the research quarters. Not as a prisoner, but for your safety. There will be debates among our people. Some will see you as a savior. Others may not. Elias nodded. I understand. Then the third elder spoke, a stern figure with sharp eyes. And the hybrid sample. It must be contained under the highest protection. No information about its growth will leave this council. Sarenla bowed. Of course. With a wave of their hands, the council dismissed them. As Elias and Sarenla walked out of the chamber, the air felt heavier than before. The halls seemed quieter, as though the building itself held its breath. Elias rubbed the back of his neck. They didn't seem angry, but they didn't seem happy either. They are cautious, Sarenla said. They feel the weight of this discovery. They fear making the wrong choice. And what do you fear? Elias asked. She paused, then looked at him with gentle honesty. I fear losing this chance. I fear watching my people fade away, when hope is finally within reach. He nodded slowly. And I fear being the reason things get worse. Sarenla touched his arm lightly. You are not the cause of fear. You are the cause of possibility. Remember that. Together, they returned to the laboratory. The hybrid cells glowed softly within their container, pulsing with life. But outside the glass walls, whispers began to spread among the Ashari. Whispers of change. Whispers of danger. Whispers of hope. And Elias realized that from this moment on, nothing in either of their worlds would ever be the same. The research facility was quiet when Elias returned to his assigned quarters. The soft lights, the curved walls, the gentle hum, everything felt peaceful, yet Elias could not relax. He kept thinking about the council, about the hybrid cells, about the future that seemed to be growing in a tiny glowing container. He sat on the edge of the bed, staring at his hands. He had never imagined that simple human cells could carry such importance. He was just a scientist from Earth, someone who liked quiet mornings, black coffee, and reading old research journals. He was not meant to be the center of a political storm, but fate had other plans. A soft chime sounded, and the door slid open. Serenla stepped inside, carrying a small, clear container shaped like a crystal leaf. She placed it gently on the table and sat opposite him. "You look tired," she said softly. "I'm thinking too much," Elias admitted. "That is normal," she replied. "Everything around you changed in one day." He rubbed his temples. "I'm worried about what comes next. The council isn't fully convinced. Some of them looked at me like I'm a walking danger." Serenla smiled gently. "You are not a danger. You are a key. And keys can open doors others fear to walk through." Elias looked at her. "What did they tell you after we left the chamber?" Serenla hesitated. "They ordered me to run more tests. Deeper ones. They want to know if the hybrid structure continues to grow, if it can form organs, if it can develop into something more." He felt his heart jump. "You mean?" "Yes," she said. "But we do not know if that is possible yet." Elias took a slow breath. "And if it is possible?" And if it is possible." Serenla lowered her gaze. "Then the council will have the hardest decision in our history." He knew what she meant. A hybrid life would be more than a scientific miracle. It would be a symbol, a turning point, a bond between two species. Some would celebrate it, others would fear it, and some might try to destroy it. Before Elias could respond, a soft alarm echoed from the hallway. Serenla immediately stood and placed a hand near her ear, listening to the building's internal communication system. Her eyes widened. "The hybrid sample," she whispered. Elias felt his chest tighten. What happened? Without answering, Serenla grabbed his wrist and led him quickly through the halls. They reached the main laboratory where several Ashari scientists stood, gathered around the containment chamber. Their faces were a mix of confusion and awe. Serenla pushed through the crowd. "Report." A researcher pointed at the container. It increased its resonance again. "The cells. They have formed a new structure." Elias stepped beside Serenla and looked into the container. The glowing cells now formed a small cluster round, organized, and pulsing with soft blue light. It looked almost like the early stage of an embryo. Serenla's breath trembled. "It has reached the next phase of development." A whisper spread through the room. Some Ashari placed their hands over their hearts, a sign of hope. Others stepped back in fear. One scientist spoke with uncertainty. "This could save us. This could be the future of our people." Another shook his head. "Or it could lead to disaster. We have no idea what this life will become." Elias watched them argue softly, but his attention stayed on the glowing embryo. It looked peaceful, alive, full of potential. Serenla turned to him. "The council must be informed. They will come soon." And they did. Within minutes, the 7 elders entered the laboratory. The room fell silent. The eldest elder approached the container and studied it carefully. His expression was unreadable. Serenla spoke softly. "Honored elders, the hybrid has reached stable early life formation. It is the first time an Ashari cell has developed beyond the initial stage in over 2 centuries. A deep silence followed. Finally, the eldest elder closed his eyes. "This is life," he whispered. "A new life." The younger, more cautious elder stepped forward sharply. "A life formed by mixing species we cannot predict what it will become. We must consider termination before it grows further." Serenla stepped forward quickly. "No. It is stable. It is not dangerous." "We do not know that," the elder argued. "We cannot risk the future of our people. For one experiment." Elias felt his heart pound. He couldn't stay silent anymore. "With respect, elder. Destroying it would be wrong. This life could be the answer you've been searching for. You've lost generations of children. This could be your first chance to bring them back." The elder's eyes narrowed. "And what if it is a threat?" Elias stepped closer. "Then monitor it. Study it. Protect it. Not destroy it. You fear the unknown, but the unknown is how every new beginning starts." A moment of tense silence followed. Serenla looked between Elias and the council, her hands trembling slightly. The eldest elder raised a hand, silencing everyone. "Enough." He turned toward the hybrid container again. His voice was quiet, but steady. "When our ancestors first learned to build starships, many feared the sky. Many said that leaving our world would bring ruin. But our people survived because we chose hope over fear." He looked at Elias. "Human, your courage speaks honestly." Then he looked at Serenla. "And your faith in science has guided us well." Finally, he addressed the whole room. "This life shall be protected. It shall be nurtured. It shall be studied, not as a weapon, not as a threat, but as our future." A ripple of mixed emotion passed through the scientists. Relief, fear, awe. Serenla's eyes softened with gratitude. Elias felt the tightness in his chest fade. The elder continued, "This hybrid being will be known as Keshan Var, Child of Renewal. It symbolizes our hope to rise again." He turned to Elias. "And you, human, will be honored as its guardian. Not a father, not an owner, but a protector who stands between worlds." Elias swallowed hard. I will do my best." "We know," the elder said. As the council left, Serenla approached Elias. Her voice shook slightly. "You have just changed the history of 2 species. Thank you." Thank you. La." Elias looked at the container, the small, glowing life that pulsed gently like a distant star. "I didn't do anything special," he said quietly. "I only did what felt right." Serenla smiled. "Sometimes, doing what is right is the most special thing of all." Outside, whispers spread across the Ashari city. Whispers of the Child of Renewal. Whispers of a human who brought hope. And far above the planet, the 2 thin moons continued their slow dance in the pale sky, watching over a future that neither species could yet imagine.